when you're thinking about access to your education or also
Yeah.
providing education around equity, what do you feel like is some of the beliefs that Oaksterdam takes, and also those beliefs that you would like to see other education providers really thinking about as they're designing their curricula, their access to their curricula, and things of that nature?
Indeed. We worked hard to make sure that our platform was as accessible as possible to help bridge the digital divide. It is a bit harder in the sense that, you can't just take public transport to our classroom. You do need to have some type of technology. However, at this point in time, you need to do that to do business. And so the other thing that I realized our students are learning are life skills that are really vital to the next stages. And because there's been such a digital divide, our instructors are taking the time to ensure that you're trained on a Zoom meeting, which is what you're going to need to be able to do in whatever job you get hired at this point, most likely. So there's even just for the interview itself, that there are skill sets to come across there. So helping just to be as accessible as possible, that all you really need is a smartphone. You don't need to have a computer, that your content is deliverable in a multitude of mediums, I think is something that I would hope that folks would consider, not just for equity individuals, but also Americans with disabilities, that, we stand on the backs of patients when we talk about the entire industry, and that we want to make sure that we, reach back and do those things to assist those that are just simply disenfranchised or unable to do it for themselves. I'd also ask them to teach how to advocate for these policy issues, both descheduling, because this is what's going to take the teeth out of the criminality. This is what's going to allow for small business. And small business is, frankly, where women, people of color, and veterans survive and thrive. Small business. And as long as this is very constricted, where only a select few can attain a license, and that is more and more expensive as we go forward, that you're pretty much guaranteed to be rich and white and male in order to get there. And so you can either be their employee or a criminal, pick one. And so I'm trying to advocate for these policies so that we're not ensconcing the new Jim Crow, the criminal industrial complex that is born on the back of slavery, into our new policies, and that we are teaching about reentry programs, and that we need to make sure that we're allowed to hire individuals that are formerly convicted of a cannabis crime, that we're not completely keeping out the very people that probably know this business better than most, that they just happen to get caught, that they were probably caught driving while black, and you were driving while white, and that's why it was medical for you and criminal for them. That we are addressing these policy issues, and that if you're not part of that solution, that you understand you're part of the problem and that you make those adjustments. So I would hope that these are the things that are being taught. And one thing that we've tried to do is offer scholarships to the disenfranchised since the day we opened. Since before we opened, we were only teaching for free. But the, it started first with patients and helping patients that were just poor, that couldn't afford classes to get into class. And then we expanded that to veterans, and then we started an official veteran scholarship program while we advocated for equity. Now that equity policy that was ensconced in the voter law allows for expungement, we've now voted check the box out of California. The opportunities for folks considered as equity individuals now have a future in the cannabis industry. And so we're continuing to offer a multitude of scholarships. I really should stop and count at some point, but I mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to these individuals that I've discovered also importantly, a last recommendation for anybody else out there, that once you get through the scholarship process of enrollment, you're like any other student. I don't even know if I don't care if you're an equity scholarship recipient. And I didn't understand how important that was until some of my equity alumni came back to me and said, Dale, the fact that you just treated us like anybody else, not like a second-class student, not like a special case, but just you demanded the same thing of us as you demanded of anybody else, and you gave us that same treatment meant more to them than I ever even realized. And so now I'm speaking to it, because it's also important to realize that, these folks are just like us. It's just, they got caught. And I was, I think we all snuck a toke at some point in our life where, you had to like look left and look right and hope nobody caught you. And so it's really important to focus on tithing back to the communities whose shoulders we stand on in this new potential, in this new legal environment. And that includes communities of color as well as medical patients.
Really, really beautifully said. And I think that that is a really awesome place for us to wrap up, because I just want to thank you so much for your time. I know that we've gone significantly over what we originally scheduled, but I've learned so much from you here. I'm sure the CANiVISION audience will absolutely love this interview, and I'm sure have a lot of follow-up questions. So I hope this is not our last
I hope
one.
you'll invite me back. This has been fantastic. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us here. I'm super excited to keep on continuing the conversation, and we'll make sure to tag all of the relevant social media things in this post. But if there's anything, last notes that you want to encourage the audience to follow you on or stay in tune with your journey, feel free to share that now.
Oh, I would absolutely love for folks to go to oaksterdamuniversity.com, and on social media, I'm at Dale Sky Jones on all the platforms, and either at Oaksterdam or at Oaksterdam University. And please do share your stories. It's the success stories. For so many years, we intentionally did not track or trace our alumni for their safety. And now we're ready to launch an alumni association. So I'm going to be on the lookout for all my alumni. So please do show back up, tell us what you're up to, tag us on social media, show us a photo of your garden or your business. And I just so appreciate you, Michelle, your audience, and making this happen. I do really hope that I'll get invited back. So maybe I should ask your audience to ask you to invite me back. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Sounds great. You definitely will. All right. Well, thanks so much again. And then we will catch you on the next CANiVISION.
Yes,
network,
catch you on the flip
voices.
side. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.